Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Welcome to another episode of Front Page International. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. Jim Jordan is going on the offense against a former prosecutor and against Bragg, the DA who was behind the zombie investigation of President Trump. Kari Lake gets a break regarding signature verification procedures in her election challenge. Kari Lake may have also caught the eye of President Trump as a running mate. Biden will be meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for 2 days. Despite the expectations that they will mainly discuss China, Trudeau stated that climate change would be a major topic as well. Biden's visit comes amid claims of China interfering in Canadian elections. A Canadian Liberal also resigned after being accused of suggesting to a Chinese diplomat that China should not release the two Michaels who were imprisoned in China for 1,000 days at the time. Xi Jinping gave a thought-provoking goodbye message to Putin after the two world leaders met in Russia this week. And TikTok was on the clock and headed to Capitol Hill today to answer allegations that it threatens national security. Okay, let's get into it. As we reported as part of the investigation into President Trump's possible indictment, the Manhattan grand jury was placed on standby for Thursday, but rumors about a possible indictment are still only rumors. This is because President Trump has not been formally notified if Bragg plans to bring charges against him. Meanwhile, House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan sent letters to two former Manhattan DA office attorneys on Wednesday. He was demanding information supporting the claim that District Attorney Alvin Bragg's prosecution of President Trump is politically motivated. Former prosecutor Carrie Dunn received a similar letter from the committee. Jordan's letter comes 3 days after he accused Bragg of abusing his prosecutorial authority in what he called a politically motivated prosecution of the leading candidate for the Republican presidential nomination in 2024. Jim Jordan has expanded the scope of the House Republicans' investigation by summoning the former prosecutor Mark Pomerantz to testify and to provide documents and communications as soon as possible. Jordan noted that Pomerantz played a role as an unpaid special assistant district attorney who led an investigation scouring Trump's finances and looking for some legal theory on which to bring charges against President Trump. According to the letter, a matter of interest for the House Judiciary Committee is whether Pomerantz shamed Bragg into resurrecting a dead case on the basis of a tenuous and untested legal theory. Jordan summoned Pomerantz based on what he described as Pomerantz's efforts to shame Bragg over Bragg's initial reluctance to file charges. Jordan argued that the facts at the center of Bragg's investigation had been known since 2018. And Jordan also argued that even the Justice Department had not prosecuted after reviewing the facts in 2019. Jordan also described Bragg's renewed investigation as a zombie investigation. The investigation was allegedly prompted by President Trump's decision to run for president in 2024. Additionally, Jordan expressed concerns about the credibility of the star witness Michael Cohen. Jordan described Cohen as Trump's disgraced former lawyer and a convicted perjurer. The deadline for Pomerantz to respond is March 27th. A ruling by the Arizona Supreme Court gives new life to former gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake's election lawsuit. On Wednesday, the court ruled in Kari Lake's favor on one of her key claims related to signature verification procedures on early ballots in Maricopa County, reviving Lake's hopes in her election challenge. Justices on the state's high court accepted Lake's argument that lower courts erroneously dismissed her challenge to applying the signature verification process in the 2022 midterm election. The court's decision contrasts the move from the two lower courts, one in Maricopa County and the other in the Arizona Court of Appeals. They both rejected Kari Lake's lawsuit. This time, Arizona Chief Justice Robert Brutinel stated that the court would determine whether Kari Lake could prove her claim regarding ballot tabulation. Kari Lake expressed satisfaction with the ruling, saying that the signature verification process in Maricopa County is a house of cards. Thanks to this ruling, my team will get the chance to topple it. There have also been reports that President Donald Trump might seriously consider Kari Lake to run as his running mate in 2024. And now a new poll indicates that Kari Lake could win the Senate election in Arizona in 2024. According to Blueprint polling, Kari Lake is leading Democratic Representative Ruben Gallego by 4 points, and she is leading Independent Senator Kirsten Sinema by 22 points. TikTok was on the clock and headed to Capitol Hill today to answer allegations that it threatens national security. However, in its attempt to avoid a ban, the company has cited the support of a number of business owners and influencers who rely on the app to make a living. But what exactly are users giving up when they install TikTok on their phone? If there are approximately 150 million American users of TikTok, how many of them have actually read the terms of service and licensing agreement that outlines exactly what information TikTok can gather legally? Well, we did. Here's the list of what TikTok collects. First of all, TikTok collects basic information such as your name, age, username, email, password, phone number, and location. It also collects the content of messages when they're sent, received, and read, and by whom. And this is not all. It stores the text, images, and the videos that are on your clipboard. In addition, it saves purchase information, including payment card numbers and the billing and shipping addresses. The platform also tracks user activities on other websites and apps and even in stores. This includes the products or services you purchase online or in person. Furthermore, it collects file names and types, keystroke patterns, and rhythms. And if you think it stops there, you're wrong. TikTok also collects your IP address, mobile carrier, time zone settings, device model, and operating system. While it saves information about videos, images, and audio, it goes further and it records objects and scenery that appear in your videos, such as tourist attractions, shops, and other points of interest. And again, this is not the end of the story. It stores biometric identifiers such as face prints and voice prints. This information allows TikTok to target videos, ads, and political messages that are based on your habits and interests. The platform also keeps cookies that collect, measure, and analyze which web pages the user views most often and how they interact with the content. TikTok additionally acknowledges that it used very small images and pieces of data that are embedded in images and ads. These pieces of data can recognize the time and date that a page was viewed, and it can recognize a description of that page. Cyber experts have said that TikTok is not alone. Many social media platforms can also come close to cloning your phone. However, an analysis by US-Australian firm Internet 2.0 claims that data harvesting at TikTok has reached a whole new level. The report warns that, finally, device mapping, external storage access, contacts, and third-party application data collection allows TikTok the ability to reimagine the phone in the likeness of the original device. Moreover, according to experts, TikTok data is typically stored in the United States and Singapore, but it is connected to servers in China, which is of primary concern to Congress. The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, says he will discuss China-related issues with Joe Biden during Biden's two-day visit to Canada, which will begin today. Trudeau, however, indicated that China is not one of the main topics that he expects to discuss with Biden. Priority will be given to topics such as climate change, job growth, and the supply of critical minerals. They also are planning to express unity about Ukraine. In addition, Trudeau stated that he and Biden would discuss the North American economy in general, although he did not provide further details. Since becoming president, Biden's visit to Canada will be his first in-person visit. According to a White House press release, Biden is set to address the Canadian Parliament to highlight the importance of the United States-Canada bilateral relationship. The White House also said that Biden and Trudeau would discuss shared national security issues and defense cooperation, specifically it was noted that Joe Biden would be speaking with Trudeau regarding the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD. National Defense Minister Anita Anand announced last year that the federal government would invest nearly $5 billion in modernizing NORAD's outdated surveillance equipment. But in response to reporters' questions, Anand did not directly respond to whether her department plans to unveil any new national defense spending measures during Biden's visit. Anand said, "We are very committed to NATO, noting that Canada has recently increased its defense spending and plans to do so in the future." Biden will also have a pull aside with Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who was elected last year. It's not uncommon for a U.S. president to meet with an opposition leader during a visit to Canada. Biden is also expected to meet and say hello to all the opposition leaders during the welcoming ceremony on Thursday. On March 22nd, Canadian MP Han Dong announced that he had resigned from the Liberal caucus. This is after a news report alleged that he had told a Chinese diplomat that Beijing should not release two Canadian citizens, the two Michaels, who had been arbitrarily detained in China. Han Dong denies saying this to the Chinese diplomat. Dong said in the House of Commons that, "I'm taking this extraordinary step because to sit in the government caucus is a privilege, and my presence there may be seen by some as a conflict of duty and the wrong place to be as independent investigations pursue the facts in this matter." Global News reported on March 22nd that Dong had advised Han Dao, who was the Chinese Consul General in Toronto, to hold off on releasing Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor, who had been imprisoned in China for over 2 years at the time. Beijing's detention of the two Canadians is viewed as its hostage diplomacy in response to Ottawa's arrest of Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou on an extradition request by the United States over fraud. In the wake of the publication of the Global News article, opposition leaders renewed their calls for a public inquiry into the Chinese regime's interference in the Canadian elections. However, Justin Trudeau has rejected those requests, saying that he is taking other measures, including appointing a special rapporteur to investigate the issue. According to Global News, Dong was the one to initiate the conversation with the Chinese Consul General. The sources allege that Dong suggested continuing to hold the two Michaels because the opposition Conservative Party would benefit if they were released. The source also alleged that Dong recommended that Beijing show some progress in the case of the two Michaels, suggesting that the move would benefit the Liberal Party, which was in the hot seat over the Chinese Communist Party's treatment of the two men. The two Canadians had been imprisoned for over 1,000 days at their release in September of 2021. This was shortly after Meng reached a deferred prosecution agreement with the United States. Chinese President Xi Jinping left the Kremlin at the end of his 3-day visit to Russia on the evening of March 22nd. Ian Williams reported on Wednesday on the Spectre website about the most interesting moment of the Russian-Chinese summit, the conversation between Xi Jinping and Putin when they parted. As Xi Jinping left the Kremlin, he stood face to face with Putin. The two men were clasping hands and they were smiling. Xi told Putin, "Change is coming that hasn't happened in 100 years, and we are driving this change together." "I agree," Putin said in response. At the same time, Putin quickly lifted his hand and shook Xi's arm. The Chinese leader then added, "Please take care, dear friend." Xi then walked down the steps into his limousine. Putin, meanwhile, stood on the curb and waved goodbye to Xi Jinping. Putin seemed to bow his head as Xi's cavalcade left. Williams remarked that analysts have pored over every word, every nuance of the carefully orchestrated summit statement, but those final moments on the Kremlin steps that were not pre-designed may tell us more about Xi and Putin's relationship than the cliches of the official communique. Williams wrote both Putin and Xi regard Western democracies as decadent and in decline and share a culture of grievance and victimhood and an almost messianic vision of restoring imperial greatness. So what did Xi mean by these words themselves, which he said to Putin before he left? One well-meaning read, Williams said, is that Xi was trying to reassure his beleaguered friend that things would get better. But another read is that Xi is reaffirming their shared long-term goal of a new international order, and both men see the war in Ukraine as a part of reaching that goal. Williams said, the Chinese Communist Party sees itself as a redemptive power after a so-called century of humiliation at the hands of rapacious foreigners, hence the significance of the 100 years. It is central to CCP mythology, while others believe the 100 years refers to the ending of the fiat currency financial power. On the other hand, for those who know history, Russia was the most greedy of these so-called foreign powers. Russia appropriated 350,000 square miles of Chinese territory in the 19th century. Xi's increasingly close bilateral relationship with Putin appears to be an attempt to move past that history and to start a marriage of convenience. But it could also be a very dangerous marriage. Williams said that Xi's parting words not only showed that he would never abandon Putin, but that Russia's atrocities in Ukraine fit Xi's broader aim of weakening the West. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. We've also heard from many of our viewers that they don't get notifications of our videos anymore from YouTube. So please follow us on Telegram, Gab, Getter, True Social, and on Ganjing World for the latest updates. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching Front Page, and we will see you next time.